Okay, all right. This debate has been recommended to me for multiple streams now, and I've been putting it off for like 10 days, like 2 weeks or something. When did this come out? 9 days ago. Yeah, so I've been putting this off for almost 10 days now. People have been sending this to me and begging me to react to it. And I meant to react to it last stream, but I just did not have enough time. I'd streamed for way too long. It was way too late. I didn't have it in me anymore. So I had to end stream. I could not include this particular reaction in that stream, but I'm so goddamn excited I get to watch it now. So Jon Stewart. I'm aware of the fact that he has some spotty opinions and takes in the past, but overwhelmingly, from what I've seen of him, he seems to hit the mark on most issues. His absolutely amazing speech about the first aid responders that were basically left high and dry in regards to their, left out to dry, I should say, not high and dry, left out to dry in regards to the health conditions they contracted due to the things they were exposed to while engaging in everything from like the mental health trauma to like breathing in harmful chemicals to like injuries they sustained while doing the rescues and first response. A lot of there were so many first responders for 9/11, for the World Trade Center terror attacks. I don't think a lot of people realize, like, because it's been so long and memed so much by the internet, like that was big. The tops of 2 buildings basically fell down onto the streets of New York City, and the buildings collapsed. Thousands died. Thousands more pinned under rubble, hurt or hurt in other ways. So many people were injured. Then not only that, but like two giant skyscrapers collapsed, and the contents of a lot of what was in them was turned into dust, into a big wafting cloud of dust that spread throughout New York City for blocks and blocks and blocks. A lot of people who breathed that dust were exposed to harmful chemicals, heavy metals, things like asbestos, molds. It is not good to breathe in that shit. It's just not good. It causes permanent lung damage. Fiberglass, shit like that. A lot of the things those first responders and other people on the scene at the World Trade Center attacks that they breathed in that day, just from the dust in the air, never left their lungs. And never will. I want you to think about that. A lot of the things those people, even if they're alive today, inhaled that day are still in their lungs and will never leave. And are still causing damage. Anyway. I don't want to get super super duper dark there or anything, but I do feel like a lot of people forget how serious that shit was. Jon Stewart did an amazing speech about that to bring awareness to the plight of the first responders and the lack of healthcare that they've received for the injuries and all the trauma and whatnot they received from doing their job. And recently he did an absolutely based debate on the topic of trans issues, apparently. So yeah, this is the debate. I've not seen it. I've not seen any clips. I am completely unspoiled on this. All I know is that apparently he took a massive W here, and he was super based. That's all I know going in here. Let's see. Let's watch this shit. Let's go.
Why would the state of Arkansas step in to override parents, physicians, psychiatrists, endocrinologists who have developed guidelines? Why would you override those guidelines?
Holy fuck.
I think it's important that...
Okay, one thing I forgot about Jon Stewart is that he's very well spoken, and there is no stutter. There is no unsureness in what he's saying. He just says what is. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He asks her, why is the state of Arkansas going against the guidelines set by all of these medical professionals? Omega based. Oh yeah, it is very quiet, I admit, so I'm going to turn on the subtitles. I apologize, guys. It's even quiet on my end. Actually, I'm going to turn on my volume booster and try to help with that. I'll keep the subtitles on, though, because I know you guys like those.
Why would the state of Arkansas step in to override parents, physicians, psychiatrists, endocrinologists who have developed guidelines. Why would you override those guidelines?
Well, I think it's important that all of those physicians, all of those experts for...
Okay. The second she opened her mouth, I knew we were about to hear some dumb shit. We're about to hear some dumb shit.
Well, I think it's important that all of those physicians, all of those experts, for every single one of them, there's an expert that says we don't need to allow children to be able to take those medications.
Okay, chat, I know I'm pretty high right now, but did she just say, in response to, why did you override guidelines set by the overwhelming consensus among the academic, scientific, psychological, biology and medical fields in this respect? And she responds, oh, well, I think that they're wrong and there should be more doctors and experts disagreeing with the consensus. We have alternate facts. It's literally it is a manufactured medical debate. There is no debate in these fields about whether or not these treatments and guidelines are good. These conservative politicians have completely manufactured it from nothing. Ex nihilo.
That there are many instances.
I know that because of a Minecraft mod.
Where...
But you know that's not true. You know it's not for everyone. There's one. These are the established.
Well, I don't know that that's not true. I don't know that.
Then why would you pass a law then if you don't know that that's true? Wouldn't you?
Well, I know that there are doctors and that we had plenty of people come and testify before our legislature who said that we have 98% of the young people who have gender dysphoria,
right,
that they are able to move past that. And once they have the help that they need, no longer suffer from gender dysphoria. 98%.
That is not true.
8%
wow.
Without that medical treatment.
That's an incredibly made up figure.
I fucking love this man. Look at this guy has mastered debating conservatives. He's doing the DreamWorks face. He's doing the DreamWorks face to this lady. Like, not like getting offended. Not saying, oh, you're wrong. No. A smug, wow, that's an incredibly made up figure. And just a smug smile. Just a smug, I expected better from you. That peak lefty debate skill. Every lefty debater should aspire to achieve this level of smugness when debating conservatives. This made her mad. That just ticked her angry meter over 1 click. She's unnerved now. Her arguments are only going to get worse from here.
That doesn't...
Oh, look at her. Look at her, dude. Oh, wow. She doesn't even know how to respond.
...comport with any of the studies or documentation that exists from these medical organizations. What medical association are you talking about of these doctors?
Well, we have all of that in our legislative history, and we'll be glad to provide that to you. I don't have the name of that off the top of my head. I know it's something that...
You don't have the name of the organization that you're getting
off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
But yes, we have all...
You know what's crazy? This lady is literally responsible for pushing the legislation that is taking away the rights of these marginalized groups. And let's assume that there is... hypothetically, that there is an organization, a large, well-respected medical institution that she is, using as her source and her justification for these actions, right? Let's assume all that's true. It's not. It's definitely not. Not a chance in hell. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, that's true. Okay? Even then, even if that is true, I can name several organizations off the top of my head that affirm my positions because it's my job to know these things. The American Psychological Association, the American Psychoanalytical Association, I think is also one of them. The what's it called? The UK Health Service, the NHS, National Health Service of the UK. Like, these are just a few examples. Like, I don't think Psychoanalytical Association, it's American Psychological Association, I believe is the one, right? Like, that's just two examples off the top of my head. There's a much bigger list than that, but that's already 200% more examples that I can think of off the top of my head. Large, well-respected medical organizations that back up me and Jon Stewart's position, the pro-trans position, and she can't even think of one. Do you want to know why she can't even think of one? I'm going to tell you why she can't think of one. Because there isn't any large medical organization or association backing up her position. At best, there are a few quack, whack job doctors whose field of study has nothing to do with the topic of psychology, biology, or anything to do with dysphoria or being trans. Usually they're like a surgeon, or not even a surgeon. Like, that's not even a good example. Usually they're like I don't know, like a fucking chiropractor or something. And they're like, yes, I am a medical practitioner, and I don't agree with this trans ideology being pushed in the medical, in the medical fields, right? All it takes is one doctor that feels like they'll get a better payday simping for the right-wing, propaganda, the anti-trans propaganda. One doctor to go up on stage and say, I am a doctor, here's my lab coat, and I disagree with literally all the other doctors. It is the exact same thing they do when it comes to man-made climate change. Not like, what is it, 99.8 or like 98% or something like that of scientists, specifically climate scientists, agree that man-made climate change is real and is the cause of a large portion of the global heating that we have seen and the consequences thereof, and that it is caused by human activity and it needs to be slowed down if not stopped. Despite that, the right, for decades now, despite the fact that 98% or more of scientists all agree on that unanimous consensus, the right will literally just platform any random dumb shit doctor or scientist that they feel like will give their shitty, completely unbacked up positions some credibility. It really is just an appeal to authority. Doctors said we're right, so don't listen to the massive medical organization made up of thousands of doctors and their tens of thousands of data points.
All of that cited in all of our briefs.
You're suggesting that protecting children means overriding the recommendations of the American Medical Association, the American Association of Pediatrics, the Endocrine Society.
We don't have enough data. We don't have enough.
Yes, we do. This is the excuse they've been using they will keep using the excuse we don't have enough data until the sun explodes and consumes the earth. The we don't have enough data excuse is because all of her arguments are being shredded away. I want you to imagine this debate is like Jon Stewart is like a paper shredder. And this lady's argument tree is like a long strip of paper. Jon Stewart is shredding that fucking paper, and she is the hand that's about to get sucked into that shredder if she doesn't bail fast. Because her arguments and her shields and all of her justifications for her beliefs are getting shredded away fast. She is fumbling, and she is absolutely choking right now. Not to mention, by the way, do you know how many over-the-counter drugs that are literally meant for parents to give to their kids you can overdose on and need to go to the hospital for? My mom literally, there are literally pills that I would be given as a kid, by my mom for pain relief or anything like that, and it's you have to take half because you're below 10 years old. That's what it says on the bottle. You take one or you take half. If you take more, then you can get sick or overdose and have to go to the hospital. You can overdose on aspirin, yeah. The fear of there being some special danger to hormones and transitioning and hormone blockers and whatnot is completely unique to that. There are far more dangerous drugs that are literally handed out over the counter, that are given out everywhere, that you could, I've taken. There is more risk to ear infection medication than most hormone blockers. ear infection medication that I took as a kid, okay? It is a completely fabricated fear. It is one based entirely in transphobia. This completely unfounded idea that what if my kid ends up going through a phase where he thinks he's a girl because he likes to play with Barbies, and the state calls me, I get called a bigot, or the state forces me to put them on hormones, and then, a couple years later, it all turns out to be a mistake, and now my son is forced to live in the body of a woman, and has to transition, or maybe there's no way back, transition back, or maybe there is no way back. There are these wild fucking horror stories these people have made up for themselves to believe as this made up worry, as a justification to withhold treatment. Well-established, well-studied, well-agreed-upon treatment for what is a known psychological state of gender dysphoria. And gender euphoria, which has been... I don't know if it's, recognized medically yet, but it seems like euphoria, that sort of, opposite feeling of, oh, hell yeah, this is what we're trying to achieve, is also a sort of positive motivation. It doesn't seem like it's just trans viewers in my chat, let me know if I'm wrong here, but is it all just, a negative, push, to transition, or is there a positive pull, a pulling force of gratitude and acceptance and happiness with your body and your identity and how people see you, perceive you, treat you, etc. Both? I would assume it would be both.
Enough to show that these drugs are effective and that these children are better off, and that we should encourage these.
Or it's not enough for you. Let me try and flip it a different way and see if maybe this can help. In Arkansas, if you have pediatric cancer, and obviously we all want to protect children, I think we established that earlier. Who's got
the little umbrella icon? There is no umbrella icon. There's a little cloud there, but yeah, there's no umbrella there. I don't have any antivirus warning. My computer scans every week, so we're all good. Hold on, let's rewind really quick.
And obviously we all want to protect children. I think we established that earlier.
Absolutely.
Whose guidelines do you follow for pediatric cancer?
Well, I think if my child, who is 4, if I was faced with that terrible decision, then I would be speaking to my doctor. And if my doctor recommended something that I disagreed with, then I would get a second opinion. And that's what I believe that these parents need to make sure that they're encouraged to get numerous opinions when they're talking about an irreversible step.
You're not letting them. The state's not saying
to a lot of people, if he hadn't responded properly to that, that would have been a very good goalpost move on her part. She was trying to take the position that, we're just trying to encourage these parents to get a second opinion. They just want a second opinion. No. You are pushing legislation that prevents any option for trans youth to get access to trans-affirming healthcare of any kind. You are not allowing there to be an option. Do not try to fall back on that slippery goalpost move. Such a great call out on that. That was really dishonest on her part. Really good call out on his part. These people really are fucking demons.
Get another opinion. What they're saying is you can't. What you're actually saying is the opposite.
No, that's actually not at all what the state said. The state simply said that you cannot perform these procedures. And so parents should get another opinion
That is just fucking hilarious. She is completely choking. I cannot wait to see Jon Stewart nail her down.
And children should want to have another opinion.
But that's not...
Because again, these are 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
So if your child is suffering from pediatric cancer, and the state comes in and says to you, they recommend chemotherapy, but we're not going to let you do that. You can't. We think you should get a different opinion, and here's the organization we think you should get the opinion from. They're not the mainstream, but they're an organization. So that's who you have to be treated by.
God damn, he's a good speaker. I really hope as I get older, I get vocal fry and my voice starts to get grumbly like that. There's just something so commanding about everything he says. He looks like a disappointed dad. He looks wise. He just looks like like you're only seeing into the surface of his knowledge on the subject, the way he speaks about it. Like, this is effortless for him. Like, listen, guys, maybe I'm gushing a little bit too much, but as somebody who really, really respects good debating, like good debate skill, I can really appreciate good form. I can really appreciate good form when I see it.
Does that sound like something you would
Well,
accept?
I think that's a very extreme example. That's not at all in line with what we're talking about. We're not saying that at some point, because when you have cancer, it literally is, and particularly pediatric cancer, and having friends that have lost children
Sure.
to
Nail her
pediatric
down.
cancer, having a 4-year-old.
Nail her down on the death statistics, on the suicide ideation, the depression and suicide attempt statistics for trans people, gender dysphoric people. Bring it up.
I'm sure.
I've got some bad news for you. Parents with children who have gender dysphoria have lost children to suicide and depression
They absolutely
because it's
have.
acute. And so these mainstream medical organizations have developed guidelines through peer-reviewed data and studies. And through those guidelines, they've improved mental health outcomes. So I'm confused
Oh my God,
why
she's
you
afraid.
follow.
Did you see that? Did you see that fucking gulp? Did you see that cartoon gulp? Did you see that cartoon gulp? Bro, I'm rock hard right now, guys. I am rock hard.
So I'm confused why you follow AMA guidelines and AAAP guidelines for all other health issues than Arkansas, because we checked, but not for this.
It's simply saying, let those young people.
I like how every time she tries to defend her position, it's always let. Give them the option. We're just letting. No. You have taken away the option. That is the law that you have passed. There is no let. You have eliminated all but one option, and that is no ability to transition. No access to the healthcare that all of these organizations agree unanimously is the correct treatment for gender dysphoria.
Who are facing gender confusion and dysphoria.
Gender confusion is pretty much the new. So do you guys remember when like homophobic, like pray the gay away preachers would use the term confused instead of gay? It's the same thing. Gender confusion is the same thing as when the conversion therapy pray the gay away preachers would say you're just confused, or you're confused in their conversion therapy camps. Therapy, you know.
Allow them to become adults and to make that decision. Allow a child to be a child.
So here's where we have our crossroads.
Allow a child to be a child. See, not an answer to the question, just trying to appeal to whatever audience that is watching that desperately wants to hear the trans community are groomers, and your trans kids don't know better. Trust me, they are not going to cut you off, never speak to you again, and at best throw your casket into the county dump when you die, or flush your ashes down the toilet if you keep them from getting access to the treatment they need. Trust me, I cannot wait to see the absolute epidemic 10 to 15 years from now of like trans people. It's going to be like a TikTok trend of trans people dumping their transphobic parents' ashes down the toilet. Mark my fucking words. Some point down the road, it is going to be a TikTok or YouTube or whatever platform comes out trend to just record for trans or LGBT people to just record themselves dumping the ashes of their dead bigoted parents down the toilet or something. That is going to become a trend. And it's going to be a massive power move, and it's going to be based as fuck. And frankly, a fantastic message to all the bigoted parents out there that aren't accepting of their LGBT, or I'm just going to say queer kids, because it's way easier just to say queer, and that word's been reclaimed. That's what, you know what, chat? We're completely, you know what? Fuck saying the LGBT acronym every time. I'm done. It's a tongue twister. We're just going to say queer, okay? It's been reclaimed. I have not heard that term be used in a like slur-like referential way. At this point, it's used almost entirely in reference to the LGBT community and activism for it. So yeah. Basically, this is all just being done to justify, like, queerphobic parents not allowing their children to access healthcare that, well, at this point, it's the state not allowing them access to the healthcare, but broadly outside of these states, this is empowering parents in states where they do still have that access to, like, empower them to deny their kids access to, you know, the healthcare that all these experts, all these organizations have unanimously come to the conclusion is the only good option. Not only that, but like conservatives will try to say, well, what else can we try? What about therapies? What about so therapies have been tried. That's called conversion therapy. So this is from the AACAP.org, the American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. Conversion therapy. Variations in sexual orientation and gender expression represent normal and acceptable dimensions of human development. Wow, the first line in the segment on American Academy of Child and Adolescent Psychiatry about conversion therapy. They say, variations in sexual orientation and gender expression are normal. They are not considered to be pathological. Therefore, they are not included in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders and the other accepted nosological systems. Health promotion for all youth encourages open exploration of all identity issues, including sexual orientation, gender identity, and/or gender expression, according to recognized practice guidelines. 2. This fosters healthy development, especially for sexual and gender diverse youth, as they integrate their sexual orientation, gender identity, and/or gender expression into their overall identity without predetermined outcome. This is literally a ridiculously long medical document, so I'm not going to read all of it, but basically, much smarter people in much larger numbers than this dumb fuck have confirmed that everything this woman stands for is wrong and trans people are valid.
You've made the determination that protecting these children means not giving them access to the guidelines and care that have been designed by medical and mental health professionals for children expressing gender dysphoria. And I'm asking you again, what are your qualifications to step in and say, no, keeping you from that care is protecting you. You've made that determination.
Well, these are irreversible decisions that these children at these young ages are...
Name one. If I was in the room with the lady, and I hope that Jon Stewart says this, name one. Name an irreversible procedure being done on children that you think is just being done on a whim or whatever. Name one. They almost always go to hormone blockers if they actually know anything about what treatments are generally given to underage trans patients. But like generally they'll go to something that is rarely, if ever in the US, given to underage, and by underage I mean like below 16 or 18 treatments. Not to mention, you know what else is irreversible? Good point, You know what else is irreversible? Death. Suicide's a common cause of death, believe it or not. One of the most common, in fact, in all the world, especially here in America. And yeah, I actually think that a lot of parents would rather they have an alive daughter than a dead son, or vice versa. I'm gonna go ahead and say they'd rather have an alive, kid who's a different gender identity, even if they're not like 100% supportive of that identity. I think they'd rather have their kid be alive, unless they truly are fucking demons. Unless they truly are completely gone. I don't know if there's anything that can be done if the parent is like, no, I would rather my kid be dead than be trans. There are parents like that. And I've seen them say that shit, and that truly makes you feel hollow for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
Making, or that their
They're
parents
not
are
making
making
the decision. You're making it sound like a 9-year-old walks into a doctor's office and says, give me some testosterone. And the doctor goes, oh, thank God, because we're wanting to create an army of transgenders because we're crazy. And they go right in like...
Now, we passed a law to protect the children in Arkansas, and I think that's what is important.
Again, the medical community disagrees with you that
well,
that's
not all of the
protecting children.
medical community.
Who doesn't?
We have had experts testify.
Bringing it back around to the fact she can't name a single organization or expert.
Here in Arkansas.
Okay. From what medical organizations?
Well, we have all of those in our briefs, and I apologize that I wasn't prepared to have a Supreme Court argument today. And
the entirety. So I want to point out here, by the way, she is incapable of naming a single medical organization or expert that backs up the philosophy she is using to justify her lawmaking here, to deprive... Okay. How many trans people live in Arkansas? I feel like Arkansas is a state we could do without. Can we replace Arkansas with Puerto Rico? Can we make Puerto Rico a state and like airlift it and just drop it on top of Arkansas? Sort of like an Anor Londo, New Londo situation, you know? Old Arkansas and New Puerto Rico. That's always been my dream. I really hate Arkansas, guys. I really do hate Arkansas. Anyway, like a lot of trans people probably live in Arkansas. I can't say how many, but certainly an amount that I would consider to be a lot. If I saw all the trans people in the entire state of Arkansas lined up like an army in front of me, I'd be like, that's a lot of people. So a lot of trans people. And many of them, no doubt, being kids or under the age of 18. She's taken away their choice of having access to that medical treatment. She is once again trying to bring it back around to the idea that, yeah, there's definitely experts that support me. Can't name them, though. And yet these experts are supposedly ones informing her lawmaking that's depriving all of these trans kids of access to their healthcare. Really despicable shit. That she can't even name one organization that's informing her positions. There aren't any. At best, there's a few completely, like, disgraced doctors that have taken this position that are, like, have basically been kicked out of the medical community because they took a stance that's wrong and won't back off of it despite all of the data and evidence going to the contrary. And it's very clearly just a politically motivated, endeavor.
In front of you, but we are going to have arguments on this case.
Right.
For the record, by the way, for those of you guys that don't know, Cassandra02 in chat is a lolicon. So if they're just being annoying in chat, you can ban them. But they want to debate me at some point, so yeah. It's up to you guys, mods. No, you're definitely a lolicon. Nah, you're a lolicon. Don't try to wiggle out of it. You want to debate me about the lolicon thing, you are.
When the time comes.
You support maps, but you're not okay, yeah. Ban Cassandra too. Okay. Well, that's a pedophile down. That's another pedophile down. 2 pedophiles down, actually, because this lady, listen, anybody like this who tries to use the veneer of protecting children as an excuse to hurt them definitely has some skeletons in their closet, my friends. Oh boy. If you think this lady isn't a fucking creep, well, you might be a little bit naive about these people. They are not very, these people are demons, okay? This lady with a straight face, besides her occasional little gulps of fear when she got called out by Jon Stewart, this lady with a straight face was basically just lying in order to justify her actions, which will do nothing but harm children. With a straight face. She's milfy, though. Listen. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You didn't have to say it, though, Ellen DeGeneres. You didn't have to say it. Now. Jon Stewart was absolutely amazing there, okay? Holy fuck. I have not seen that, like, a debate performance that... I know it was a very short one, but that spectacular or satisfying to watch in a while. He really did just nail her down on every single thing. And just... He did a very good job. I'm very happy with that. That was very, very good. Yeah, Jon Stewart needs to be arrested because that was a murder. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like if you want to support my channel, my videos, or my VODs. And of course, if you want to see, you want to get notified by YouTube whenever I go live or upload a new video, you can subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications. And of course, if you want to see more from me online, you can follow my social medias, all linked down below in the description. And finally, if you want to support me financially and you've got the money for it and you don't need it for anything else, then please consider donating, subscribing, or perhaps even gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, perhaps even financially supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, or even through Patreon. With all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and have a good one.